to the victims, their families, and this community. These things aren't supposed to happen, but they seem to happen far too often. But know that your Commonwealth is here for you. We care about you. We'll stand with you both in the days that have happened since and the days that are moving forward, and we will heal from this incident. Since Saturday, authorities have been working tirelessly, utilizing every tool at their disposal. I want to be very clear today that I am proud of the work of all the law enforcement agencies and what they're doing. They are bringing the most modern technology, every technique that is possible, to search some of the most rugged terrain that anyone could hide in. Yes, they haven't found this individual yet, but that's not for lack of trying. There are so many individuals, so many resources that have been brought to bear and will continue to be brought to bear. I'm really grateful for everyone that's been involved in the search. You look at all of the different agencies that are represented: the Laurel County Sheriff's Office, the London City Police Department, the Kentucky State Police, the FBI, ATF, the U.S. Marshal Service. We even brought in the National Guard because of what the Blackhawks could do in helping us to search some very dense areas. And if I've missed anybody standing up here, it's only because we have that many groups that have pitched in and that are working hard to try to bring some closure to this situation and ultimately catch this individual. The days since this incident have been tough for this community, but as I said, after the devastating floods hit some of this same area a few years ago, these are tough challenges, but this area is filled with the very toughest of people. Kentuckians are doing what we do best. We're coming together and we're helping our fellow neighbors. Our law enforcement and other emergency service partners, again, have done a tremendous job. They haven't stopped looking for this individual, but they've also doubled down on providing safety for this community. I know everyone, especially local law enforcement, others from KSP that have been brought in, are doing more than they have maybe ever done before, working extra shifts so that people in the area can feel safe in such a scary time. They've worked through rough terrain. They've worked in the dark, and understand in this terrain, they've put their own lives on the line in each of these searches. And that's why it's so important that the search is done professionally and carefully, because we haven't lost anyone yet from this shooter, and we want to make sure we don't lose anyone going forward. I want to thank Kentucky Emergency Management for their help, both in supporting local law enforcement and some technology they brought to the table. Again, I want to thank everyone in both local, city, and county government. Since it occurred, I've been in regular contact with your mayor and your county judge executive, who's here today. I've been receiving regular reports from the Kentucky State Police, and like everyone, hoping that we'll get that report that this individual is found and that this situation is over. As the days move forward, we also know that folks are going to be trying to get back to their everyday life, which is a challenge in times like this. Know that your state stands with you, and we are ready, willing, and able to provide additional resources to hopefully get back to that transition to everyday life. We started with Rockcastle Public Schools yesterday, coming up with a good plan provided by their superintendent, where the Kentucky State Police augmented local law enforcement and helped with some bus routes, making sure that each of those kids could get to school safely. I know those plans are being made in each of the counties impacted, and we're thankful for the very thoughtful way that people are going about making sure that all of our families and all of our children are safe. On behalf of Team Kentucky, thank you to everyone who spent a minute, an hour, or the last several days nonstop working to try to do their very best in this situation. Now, I know there's also a lot of people out there that this is just another incident in this world, and they say, how can I help? What can I do with all this going on around me? The first thing you can do is to give blood. When this incident occurred and those 5 people needed help, when they were rushed to emergency rooms, most likely all of them needed blood. And folks, we have a national blood shortage going on right now. One of the things that we can do, and not having lost anybody in this incident paying it forward, is to make sure we're giving blood so that there is enough of a blood supply on hand for whatever incident comes next, wherever it is. So today, I'm actually leaving here, heading back to the Capitol for a blood drive that we had previously scheduled. I'm giving myself. Brittany is giving. And we're going to encourage all Kentuckians out there, regardless of where your local Red Cross or blood center is. This is one small thing that you can do every so many days to help make sure that if one of these incidents occurs, that we have the resources to take care of people that are injured the best way that we can. Now I'm going to turn it over to KSP Commissioner Burnett to provide a recap of their search efforts. Commissioner.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning. I'm Colonel Philip Burnett with Kentucky State Police. Today marks day 6 of this event. Last night made the 5th night that we were incorporating operations for the search of Mr. Couch. What I can tell you is we have no significant updates at this time. But we are following up on some leads. We've started to have a few more tips come in, and we're still expanding upon the search area there in the Daniel Boone National Forest. We're still utilizing nighttime aircraft operations with thermal imaging. We're still using canines. We have cadaver canines. We have bloodhounds that we've brought in. The FBI has brought in a bloodhound team from Illinois. We are using surveillance, we're using intelligence, we're using ATVs, we're using moving patrols. We're using every single possible entity that we can to bring this to a successful conclusion for his capture. You know, it's unfortunate that this happened in Kentucky and here in Laurel County, but what I can say is this is how it should work when you have something that occurs here. With the federal partnership that we've had with the FBI, they've been boots on the ground, the ATF, Sheriff's Department, the U.S. Marshal Service, Kentucky Emergency Management. I won't go through all those the governor's already hit. But when you talk about partnerships on a grand scheme for such a big event, this is how it should work. And we will keep working until we exhaust every single lead that we have in that area. Now, after we clear this area, we may have to expand upon that. We may have to adjust our operations, but we will still use every means of technology that we have, all of our assets that we have, equipment, and keep going forward. Now, as we go, we're still in the search phase, but we also have where I understand that there is a fear in the community. You know, I have talked with superintendents as well in the area. You know, we've talked about interaction back and forth, you know, what works best for them. I know big thing here in Kentucky is high school football games. We've already working with a plan with superintendents that we will have uniformed troopers and officers at every high school football game that is occurring Friday night. So there's a lot of things that we are going forward and working with, and we'll be more than glad to be able to sit down and discuss and give what relevant information that we can. But again, you know, our command post is there. We're still working that area. We're right now. I mean, we have teams out there right now scouring that area, and it's difficult. I mean, it really is. I mean, you've heard it. You saw the videos. It's very treacherous terrain, and it takes time. But we're going to clear that area, and then after we clear this area, then we may have to expand and tailor our activities going forward. But again, right now, no significant updates, but that's all I have right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to thank our county and Commonwealth attorney who are here today. I know they stand ready to prosecute this individual to the fullest extent of the law. to make sure we set an example that we don't tolerate this type of violence in this part of Kentucky or in any part of Kentucky. We'll open it up to a few questions.
Governor Beshear, can you just talk about the timeline on when this gun was purchased and when the shooting happened? I mean, it's a turnaround of just a few hours.
Well, the information I've received is that it was in the same day. That's obviously very concerning to me, and this was an individual.
All right, that's the governor giving us an update. He was thanking law enforcement for their tireless work. And Lieutenant Philip Burnett with State Police, of course, told us that they are following up on some leads right now, but they don't have any significant updates for us this morning. Well, let's go ahead and go to meteorologist Alexa Minton. She is tracking a pretty calm and cloudy start to our day.
Yeah, and things are set to switch up by the afternoon, so you want to take advantage of the calm conditions because we are continuing to track this tropical system called Francine. It made landfall in the United States as a hurricane yesterday. It downgraded to a tropical storm in the evening. It's now officially down even further to what's called a tropical depression, still holding a lot of moisture and some expansive rainfall. You can see those rain bands stretching pretty wide and very tall for the system. It's set to stall around the Memphis area, but it's still going to cause some impacts for our skies. You can see big picture. There's rain in parts of Atlanta and Memphis already, even though the system's not quite up there just yet. And here in Kentucky, what we're noticing is a little bit of cloud cover across our skies. Some thicker cloud cover in southern counties. We've got some lighter cloud cover as the farther north you go, but still some impacts we're already starting to notice. We're going to see things continue to develop throughout our day, but I'll give you another look at that in a few more moments. First, let's get a look at those roadways. So hopefully things are looking a little calmer, India.
We're dealing with some issues out there on the roads. First, if you are heading out the door, we have a broken down vehicle right on Harrodsburg and New Circle, but we also have a crash that just happened. If you are traveling, it's actually northbound I-75 right near Broadway, so causing some issues out there right near exit 113. Earlier, that's why we were seeing a little bit of a delay as you travel in the northbound direction, that heavier volume pretty much all throughout Fayette County. And so this is what we're experiencing. We're in the thick of rush hour, and so all of those delays are just pouring in. But those outside conditions, they're moving right along. I want to show you exactly what they look like as we head outside on Broadway. Things are flowing along the way that they should be. Again, our major concern is northbound I-75 at Newtown Pike because there's still an active crash in the area. Kristen.
All right, we're going to watch that. Thank you, India. Coming up on WKYT News on the CW Lexington, new details on a Lincoln County father accused of murder.